We are now at the end of this series. And as we draw it to a close, I hope it has demonstrated why intersectional theory is such a flawed concept. I began the series by saying that the intention, the motivation of the woke is basically a good one, in that they want to reach out to the marginalized and oppressed. That's their core aim, to reach out to the marginalized and poor and oppressed. And that's a great aim. As Christians, we really are on board with that idea. In fact, that's an idea that Christianity gave to the world. This is our idea. This didn't exist in pre-Christian times. So I can't emphasize enough that we are on board with caring for the oppressed and marginalized. That's woven deeply into the biblical text. However, this framework currently being used by the woke to try to identify the marginalized, this matrix devised by Kimberly Crenshaw, is simply for the bin. It is doing far more harm than good. It's way too simplistic and basic. And in most cases, it's just plain wrong. Through this theory, the woke are encouraged to hate and tear down and attack things that are good, like masculinity, Christianity, heterosexuality, marriage, healthy gender norms, and so forth. And they're also encouraged to promote and celebrate things that are destructive and unhealthy, like obesity, transgenderism, single parenthood, homosexuality, and violent ideologies and theologies. The great idea of intersectional theory is that everything should be considered equal. All ideas considered equal, but the fact is that ideas are not equal, never will be equal, and shouldn't be treated as equal. There are good ideas and there are bad ideas. We should hold to and promote the good ones, but we should reject and dismiss the bad ones. Some things deserve to be more highly esteemed than others. Things that are healthy, things that are true, things that are beneficial, that are normal, that are natural, things that are beautiful should be more highly esteemed than things that are false, destructive, abnormal, unnatural, and ugly. And so now we're talking about righteousness. Now we're talking about rightly dividing between good and evil. Rather than trying to indiscriminately equalize everything, we need to start thinking more deeply about these issues. We need to start considering what is good, what should be promoted, what should be loved, and what is evil, what should be rejected and shunned and dismissed. What is right, what is wrong. A mantra that you'll have heard the woke talking about in recent years is love is love. In other words, all love should be considered equal. All expressions of love, rather, should be considered equal.
It's just so basic that love is love. And if you can't help who you love.
This phrase was commonly heard, particularly during the drive for legalizing gay marriage a few years ago, but it's still prevalent in LGBTQ plus circles today that love is love. All love is equal. It doesn't matter whether it's man for woman, woman for man, man for man, woman for woman. All love should be considered equal. Another way of expressing this is love is never wrong. But then you could say, okay, if love is never wrong, what about if a daughter says that she loves and wants to marry her father and wants to have kids with him? What about if a mother says she wants to marry her son and have kids with him? What about if a brother and sister say they love one another and want to marry and have children? What if someone says he loves and wants to marry his goat or pig or donkey? Love is love, right? All love is equal. No expression of love is ever wrong. Of course, we know that's not true. There's a righteous expression of love and there's unrighteous expressions of love. We should promote and celebrate what is right and natural and healthy and good, but reject and discourage what is unnatural and unhealthy, that which is evil. So now we're talking about righteousness. We're introducing this new concept, how we rightly divide between the good and the evil so that we can elevate what's good and reject what is evil. If your thoughts never go any further than all things should just be equal, which is what intersectionality kind of promotes, then you're going to find yourself getting very confused very quickly. As we've seen in the series, you're going to start calling good evil and start calling evil good. And again, the Bible says, what sorrow awaits people who do that? What sorrow for those who say that evil is good and good is evil, that dark is light and light is dark, that bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter. The people who are pursuing the woke agenda are sowing the seeds of sorrow for themselves and for others in wider society. And as I make this video, I think the full extent of that sorrow is perhaps yet to be revealed. Hopefully this series has at least prompted some people to question this ideology, maybe even for the first time. It's so pervasive now that it's difficult to come out of it and look at it from a distance and analyze and assess what it's really saying and what it's really doing. But hopefully you've been able to do that through that series. And as I've often alluded to, I hope you can also see through the series that the Bible really is where the answers lie. for creating a better and more beautiful world. The Bible talks about helping the oppressed and marginalized. It talks about helping the poor, the downtrodden, caring for the orphan and the widow. Those are biblical ideas that Christianity has given to the world. But it also talks about righteousness, rightly dividing good and evil so that we can, quote, hate what is wrong, hold tightly to what is good. Did you know that some hate is good? It's good to hate evil. We just need to understand what it is. We just need to understand what the difference is between good and evil. And this is where intersectionality and the whole far left mindset has led people astray. The day our culture turned its back on the Bible and replaced it with this ideology is the day we started going wrong. And the only way to recover is to go back to Jesus. I want to finish this series by saying that if you've enjoyed it, I intend this to be the second part of a trilogy of series. The first part of the trilogy was called Trench. If you haven't seen that, I recommend going back and watching it now. It explains why the world has tilted towards far left ideology since the Cultural Revolution of 1967. In this series, I hope I've shown why the framework being used by the left to reshape the world is so destructive. And in the third part of the trilogy, I want to present a positive vision for what the world could look like if we did return back to embrace the teachings of Christ. You see, while I think it has been important to expose the flaws in the world's current ideologies and explain why they're failing, I think it's important as a Christian to not only talk about what we're against, but also what we're for. I'm aware that in these past two series, there's been a lot of, I guess, what could be called negative talk in the sense I've been deconstructing worldly wisdom. I've been pointing at things and saying that's wrong and that's bad and that's the wrong ideology and so forth. But I want to next show what it might look like to be on the right road. Let's have some positive talk. Let's talk about and let's imagine a better future, a future where Jesus is Lord. What would that actually look like? So look out for that series. It will be called Imagine. I don't intend to get onto that one straight away. I feel like I've been involved in the culture war space for quite a while now, even a few years. I've been working on Trench and then the woke Inversion. So I'd like to give this a rest for a while and to move away from this and explore other very important topics for a little while. But when I come back to it, Imagine will be the intended final part to this trilogy, so look out for it. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe to the Fuel Project social media accounts to get notified when new videos are released. If you'd like to support the Fuel Project financially, this ministry really can't exist without that support. It's not considered advertiser friendly. We're not exactly making videos that YouTube and Meta and other companies approve of. So if you can, and if you would like to, you can do so at Patreon, GiveSendGo, or PayPal. Thank you so much to everyone who gives and supports this work. It's very much appreciated. And I appreciate you all as individuals as well. You can also donate through the website at thefuelproject.org. There's also some merch on the store there that helps to spread awareness of the Fuel Project if that's something you'd like to do as well. If you liked the series and if you want a personal copy, you can download it by going to thefuelproject.org/downloads. You never know if social media companies will pull this content eventually. So if you want guaranteed future access to all of this, you can download all the series at thefuelproject.org/downloads. You can also get the book for this series and for others. They contain more information than what's in the videos as well. And you can also get them by going to Amazon. So all that's left for me to do is to say thank you for watching. Whether you're a Christian or not, I hope this series has been useful and that you now feel equipped with a greater understanding of the times in which we live. Intersectional theory is simply not the answer, but Jesus is. The quicker we realize that and the quicker we return to Him and to His Word, the better we're all going to be for it.